Hello Blazers, it is your boy Roman, your favorite neighborhood Russian. Hi guys, doing today? Welcome to a brand new video. In today's video guys, we are out here in a beautiful city of Tbilisi, Georgia, surrounded by nature in a park. And guys, this is not mine by the way, we're just looking for a place to film, and there was literally a bottle of Russkaya vodka just standing here, so there's actually a little bit left on the bottom there, but I do not think I will. Regardless guys, in today's video we're gonna take a walk around beautiful Tbilisi, and also I'm going to do a Russian Q&A. Basically guys, as always, I went on my Instagram and asked you guys to ask me any questions, personal questions or questions about Russia, and I'm gonna be responding to the best ones in this video. Without further ado, let's take a swig and get into it. First question, yo Roman, how is your current road to EU membership going? Yes guys, if you're not aware, I'm a country now, so I'm creating my own state, and I'm going to be applying for EU membership as a country. So if you guys want to, you know, get the passport of the country of Roman, make sure to hit me up, email me or whatever. Alright guys, I just had to make that joke, but actually a bunch of people did ask me right now about my sort of progress of like trying to move to Europe and whatnot, because I've been talking about this on my channel, and essentially yes, right now I'm kind of trying to get a visa to a certain European country. I don't want to spoil it, I'm not exactly sure if it's going to work, right? But yes, this is something I've been working on for the past few months. I've spent a lot of money already in traveling and visa fees and lawyer fees. I've been pretty busy behind the scenes, and it's not been easy, especially as somebody who has a Russian passport right now, so you can imagine. So yeah, no news as of yet. However, if I will succeed, then I of course will make a proper full video detailing my entire journey and how insane it was, so stay tuned. Also guys, shout out to Georgia for drinking water fountains. Guys, this is crazy technology that we don't have in Russia yet. Are you low-key a red pill guy but scared of the Western society? Great question. So this is essentially something I've noticed in my comments recently. There's a certain sentiment that people basically are saying that I've essentially became like a leftist or like woke or whatever because I want to like move to the West and Europe. And this is just complete nonsense, because that's not how it works. Sure, they do background checks, right? But nobody is gonna deny you immigration because you're not woke. And it also doesn't clash, because I've literally been woke for like 5 years now, probably at this point, and that's been way before I left Russia, way before I was trying to move away. So maybe I just had a very long-term strategy to get woke, guys. So sorry for Pi Rocket. Here's a question that I kind of already addressed before, but I want to kind of get into it again. I essentially always get this one question here. Why don't you say stuff that will get you censored in Russia if you're out of the country? Yeah, it's essentially a point that a lot of people raise when they watch my channel, is why do I still censor myself? Why do I use these Russian euphemisms, as you could call it, such as special military operation, or I don't know, sometimes I use the phrases such as the events that happens, and everything that's going on right now, you know, all the classics that are there obviously for me to not say the words. Well, here's the thing guys, as a person who's sort of in exile right now, however, whose status is basically that still of a Russian citizen, I'm not essentially under the protection of any governments, I'm not really in a great position to be just kind of saying anything and kind of letting my tongue go loose and pretty much breaking every law there is, because this is the most ironic thing about this entire subject, is that for me, for example, right now as a Russian, if I want to move to Europe, or if I want to move to any country pretty much and actually get a residency there and apply for like a work visa or anything, pretty much anything, I need to have a document that proves that I've actually been a law-abiding citizen and I have no convictions in any of the countries that I've ever lived in. And obviously guys, this is quite funny to me personally. I find it very ironic that as a Russian right now, like if you don't speak up, etc., you're considered like a bad person. However, also if you do speak up, and actually if you like go too far where the Russian government takes notice of that, then you will pretty much be barred from actually, you know, becoming the citizen of a free world. Loud as hell. But yes, I actually do think that it's a valid point, and I don't actually necessarily disagree with the people who dislike me or call me out for this. Honestly, I wish I didn't have to do this, but right now, just for me being able to hopefully build a life for myself, I have to abide by certain rules. However, still, I do think that even avoiding certain words, I'm actually still able to educate and sort of talk about the overall situation and show the people the reality of what's going on. And yes, like I've already said on this channel, there's a lot of topics and things I would like to talk about that I don't really feel, you know, as the classic put it, I
prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. in big trouble, and I don't want to be in big trouble.
Yeah, pretty much, right? So, and even though, yes, maybe I have to, you know, use these euphemisms and sort of weave around things, but in the end, I guess, you know, there is an obvious message in my contents, and yes, I think that is a genuine criticism, but the answer is simple. It's pretty much just to avoid unnecessary trouble right now. And once again, when I will be in a position where I can say whatever, I will. But I'm sorry if I do not meet your expectations. Next question here has to do with making money. And the question is, how are Russians abroad making money right now if they're not on work visas and only have Mir cards? Well, basically the way it works is that every single Russian who goes to any country basically opens a bank account there. It's pretty possible to do in a lot of countries still, although in a lot of countries, even here in Georgia, it's gotten way harder to do, and it was already not particularly easy when I came here first. But yes, basically that's how you do it, because essentially if you're like me, a YouTuber who gets his money essentially from the West, you know, I get it sent from YouTube, or you're like an IT guy, which, you know, most of like my friends from Russia who left, they all like work in IT or game developments or something like that, so they all basically work also for Western companies in Europe, America, etc. Basically with the sanctions and how SWIFT got cut from Russian banks, you can't really even get that money on Russian accounts, on any Russian bank accounts anymore, period, right? So it's still possible, people still do it, but yes, you know, opening a bank account sometimes is pretty difficult, and overall right now if you're Russian and if you have to deal with banks and stuff like that, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, because you kind of treat it as a security threat essentially. Your transactions are under extra scrutiny basically. I ran into an issue recently actually where I wanted to send money to my friend in America, to an American bank here from Georgia. He had to talk to his bank for like 4 days just for the bank to accept my transaction because I'm a Russian citizen essentially, and he says that he doesn't really have to do that when somebody else, you know, from like EU or whatever sends him money. So it's annoying, yes, but you know, I'm still grateful to, you know, be able to use Apple Pay. These are the rights we've been ripped off. But yeah, basically this is how we do it, guys. This is how we stay afloat in these very troubling times. I got a question on what is the dynamic between Russians who fled Russia and Ukrainian refugees. Here's the thing, I can't really speak for everybody because all people have different relationships and different opinions. I can only speak for myself pretty much, and I've personally actually met quite a few Ukrainian refugees here. And actually quite funny is that now that I think of it, pretty much every single Ukrainian refugee I met here, I also smoked with, so But obviously I can expect that there may be some tension, you know, because Georgia is obviously a place where a lot of Russians have fled to, but also Georgia is also a place that has housed a lot of Ukrainian refugees right now. But what's actually interesting is that some of the Russians who fled here to Georgia actually have organized certain organizations to help Ukrainian refugees here. For example, one that's pretty well known here is Volunteers Tbilisi. They do all sorts of fundraisers and also provide help to Ukrainian refugees. For example, Natasha's Adventures, she's made a video with them. She actually visited their center and saw what they're doing there. And yes, Tbilisi Volunteers was originally started by Russians who moved to Georgia, and now they have volunteers from all over the world helping out, including Georgians, Ukrainians, Europeans, Americans, and more. Every month, over 5,000 Ukrainian refugees receive humanitarian aid from the organization. Tbilisi Volunteers also run a special canteen for the refugees, where over 3,000 meals are given away for free every month. Moreover, the organization helps out Ukrainian refugees with medicine and other aids, as well as providing help with shelter, medical care, and also the overall adaptation to life in Georgia. So if you guys would like to help Tbilisi Volunteers in their effort to support Ukrainian refugees, you can go over to their websites and support them by donating either through PayPal, Crypto, or Swift transfer, as well as follow their social media in order to get all the updates. All the links will be down in the description. Thank you guys for listening. I hope this made you consider supporting Tbilisi Volunteers, and let's get back into the video. So yeah, you know, I can't really speak for the relationship with all people, everybody, but you know, there's a lot of projects like this that show that we can coexist essentially, and something good may actually come from us interacting, which, you know, gives me hope for the world. And now, a question that sort of ties into this, well, not really, but kind of. Essentially, I was asked, knowing Russian, how much can I understand of other Slavic languages? In general, guys, if you don't know, Slavic languages all have very big similarities, and a lot of the times, if you know one Slavic language, you can guess a lot from another Slavic language. So me being Russian, sometimes when I read like Polish or Serbian, yeah, for example, I can sort of understand what's going on. However, of course, a lot of the time I can't, so it's really difficult. And actually, as far as it goes to like hearing the language, when I'm hearing like Czech, I don't understand anything, or Polish sometimes is really, really hard. But actually the reason why I sort of said that the previous one kind of ties in is because I wanted to talk about the Ukrainian language, and what's cool is that actually, sort of ironically, but the start of this entire special military operation has kind of improved my Ukrainian a lot, or my understanding of Ukrainian in a sense, because in Ukraine right now, you know, obviously since a lot of people are traumatized with what is happening, and it's totally understandable, a lot of people who spoke primarily Russian before in everyday day-to-day speech, essentially they've switched to primarily speaking Ukrainian. And I understand that it comes from, you know, the sort of feeling of, you know, national resurgence in a sense where obviously you don't want to speak the language of, you know, your enemy. So yeah, if people do that, I don't judge, and I think it's, you know, totally their right to speak whatever language they want to speak. But also what's interesting is that, for example, some of my Ukrainian friends that I talk to online, they still speak Russian to me. However, I have a few who actually only speak Ukrainian to me, and they refuse to use Russian whatsoever. And because I have to read what they're saying, and because we're talking to each other, my understanding of Ukrainian once again gets better, and I know a lot more Ukrainian words now than I used to like 2 years ago, right? So in a sense, ironically enough, but Russia being the way that it is has improved this Russian's knowledge of Ukrainian. So I don't know, guys, some positivity, I guess. Another very philosophical question here that I'm gonna get depressed answering, but I'm being asked if I have any genuine hope that I will ever step foot in Russia again. Very grim question, guys, because it underlines the idea that I will never ever be able to step foot there again. Quite honestly, I think I will. I really think I will, because quite honestly, I don't think that all this nonsense can last that long. What's going on right now is just not sustainable. A society that runs on hate and this feeling of resentment towards like the entirety of the rest of the world, and an ideology that runs on that cannot exist for too long, you know? Even the Soviet Union was going through changes while it was the Soviet Union, and there was many different countries technically throughout its different eras. So I definitely do think that big change will be coming to Russia, but nobody knows when or how or who or what kind of change it will be. It actually might get even worse. That's what some people are saying. I do think that I will step foot there again, you know? I mean, realistically, right? I'm just 25 years old, so I'm hoping to live a long, happy life. That's a good joke, but no, seriously, like, I think by the time I'm like 35, 40, we'll probably see a very different Russia. To be quite honest, that's the way I feel, and nothing is forever, nobody lives forever, so I definitely think change will come, and hopefully one day I will step foot in a Russia that I will be proud of. Guys, as we're filming this video, we're literally sweating bullets. I'm too tired, I'm gonna lay down. I never want to get up again. Alright, what's the next question on the fucking agenda? Here's the question. Not trying to be rude, but do you ever feel like you want to get out of the constant Russia content? I totally get what you mean. Here's the thing. The reason why I make the content that I make right now is that this is something that I'm very concerned with. This is something that, you know, affects me greatly, which is, you know, what my country is doing, right? And where it's going. I care about this stuff a lot, right? So I talk about it. And also it's something that Westerners are interested in, you know. I'm able to bring like a different perspective on whatnot, right? So I like what I make right now. However, yes, there's definitely a concern within me, you know, that maybe possibly like I should move away because, you know, basing my content around Russia too much is like kind of detriment to my channel. I don't want to essentially become just a channel that shits in Russia, and I don't want to have like none of my personality or anything in it, right? Essentially, I'm a very self-critical person, and I think I'm nothing, okay? And in general, right, like my view of fans and subscribers is that essentially you can lose it all very quickly if like the algorithm doesn't favor you. Essentially, I don't have like a high view of myself where I think that people are like super fans of me, where they follow everything I do. In general, I think the majority of people watch me like they watch any other YouTuber, just something to gawk at, something that just comes up in the recommended. So I don't think of myself as like some sort of fucking genius that has like millions of fans or whatever. I'm just a guy who happens to make content that like does well in the YouTube algorithm and whatnot, and that could fade away very easily and everybody would forget about me, and that's completely logical, right? So yeah, in a sense, I do want to branch away, and I think once, like, maybe if I move in, if I get into a bit of a different chapter of my life, perhaps maybe I could switch to more of travel or exploring other countries and commenting on them and whatnot. I mean, I don't fucking know, to be honest, guys, but I hope that my dumbass head can come up with good enough ideas so that you guys will stay entertained, even if it's not related to Russia. I don't know, guys, but let me fucking know. And for the last question, guys, it's time where I get personal and real. This is the emotional part of the video. Cue the sad music, guys. But I've been asked mentally, how have you been, honestly? And you know, the reason why I'm actually sitting here is because mentally I've been trash for the past few months. Essentially, guys, I've already, you know, kind of opened up on this channel about my mental state and stuff, how, you know, this move from Russia and, you know, the start of the special military operation, how it has affected my mental state, and it hasn't affected it well, in a good way, you know. And I don't know why, but precisely in the year 2023 now, especially like when around the start of the summer, end of the spring, it got pretty bad for me, and I actually went in and I went to a psychiatrist and went in to get diagnosed because I was literally like crying like a little bitch from like the smallest inconveniences in my life, or when something goes wrong, you know. I was just like very unstable, I could barely work, and I was so burnt out. It was bad. It was bad, okay? And you know, there's a lot of things that are going on in the background all the time in my life that, you know, also piss me off. Obviously, you know, like I said, that entire my entire story with how I'm trying to move to Europe, that's a big factor that contributes to my depression, to be quite honest. But yeah, essentially I've been diagnosed with mild depression and ADHD. Here's the thing, I was actually, when I was a child, I've already been sort of, I think doctors raised concerns and were suggesting that I might have ADHD of some sort, but I was never diagnosed properly. But I actually finally got diagnosed, and to be honest, it makes a lot of sense. My life makes a lot of sense now. I just thought that I'm a fuck up and, you know, that I'm a complete idiot my whole life and that something is terribly wrong with me, but it turns out I just have ADHD. And yeah, I've been prescribed medication. People are wondering what it is. It's essentially xoxo, and I've been taking it for like the past 1.5 months or so. So yes, guys, I'm now part of the fucking brainwashed Zoomers that I, you know, inundated into being woke by, you know, taking meds or whatever. That's what all these, you know, red pill guys like Sneeko and whatever say. But yes, I started taking normal pills, and to be quite honest, I've actually been feeling a lot better. I get less pissed at just minute stuff now. It's much easier for me to handle stress, and also I'm less anxious about stuff that doesn't matter now, you know what I mean? But for me, honestly, I feel like it's working, and it has improved the quality of my life somewhat. Although, of course, you know, I still have a long way to go, and definitely, you know, it is rough out here right now, and you know, I'm still trying to be productive, still chugging along, and I will continue taking normal pills and providing great content for you guys, so I'm not going anywhere. Alright guys, I guess that is going to be pretty much it for today's video. I'm doing this outro in a slap squats. This is really difficult to do right now, but I'm pulling through for you guys. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please make sure to slap the like button, that's okay. Also guys, if you want to support me additionally, then please make sure to go over to the link down the description, become a YouTube member. It's basically like YouTube's own version of Patreon, monthly donations. It's the best way to support me. Or you could also do a super thanks underneath this video. And yeah guys, I guess that is going to be pretty much it for it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.